Hello, welcome. Thank you for joining me. I'm Paul Sprague, orthotist here at Neuromuscular Orthotics. This workshop is to introduce the thermoplastic PDE spring, which is for primarily pediatrics. Thanks for joining us at AOPA's Congress, remotely connected virtually together. We know that it's a full lineup and there's a great range of workshops from all exhibitors as well as the plenary program. So I appreciate you taking the time to watch this workshop with us today. So this workshop is going to provide a brief introduction to the thermoplastic PDE spring, which has been in development for about 3 years now. I'll be following this presentation with a live Q&A on Zoom at 1:35 p.m. this afternoon. So please see the link below this video and I invite you to join me in the Zoom session for more detail. The original posterior dynamic element from Fabtech Systems, this spring, or which we now know as the PDE, was released in Australia in December 2015 and has been used extensively in neurology and orthopedic and partial foot amputees since then. The springs came in up to 9 different spring categories, so the devices were interchangeable and modular, but even at the most flexible spring, the minimum weight to maximize the capabilities of the spring at normal speed was around 35 kilos. Further to this, the rapid growth of children and the need for adjustments are often considered to be a barrier for using laminated orthoses. But the challenge with developing a technology to facilitate the benefits of the PDE for smaller users was developing a spring which was suitably flexible and could also move through the required range of motion. But we wanted it to be durable enough, of course, to withstand the high demands of active pediatric users. The thermoplastic spring has gone through 3 beta phase testing stages throughout its development, and we're now really excited to announce that the 250mm length spring is now commercially released and available for your use. So, is the thermoplastic spring made of thermoplastic? It's not. The spring itself is actually a hybrid composite material. It's a fiber reinforced plastic on the outside of the spring with a unidirectional carbon fiber core. The reason we call this spring and its associated components the thermoplastic range is that they're designed to be used and incorporated into thermoplastic devices, which we can fabricate in the vast majority of O&P facilities. And they can be easily adjusted using the methods that are familiar to us as the user grows. We have 5 spring categories available in the 250mm length, and there are specific anchors and shims available for use with these springs, which I'll show you in a moment. Now, there's no specific weight rating guide for the thermoplastic springs, but so far in our use, the category 3 springs have been the most popular, and you can adapt the prescription from there. You would have seen in an earlier slide the fitting kit, which is available to clinics. That comes with categories 1 to 5, as well as the anchor setups for building a device. So with that fitting kit, you've got all 5 categories available. You can interchange as required when determining the best stiffness for your user. Regarding costs, we're pleased to share that the thermoplastic components are going to be available at less than half the cost of the other PDE springs. And there's no price difference across the categories 1 through to 5. So that should make it much easier for quoting up and being able to make changes to someone's prescription even at the fitting date. Regarding anchors, you have the option of ordering an anchor kit alone, or as you can see on the screen here, you can order an anchor kit with a pre-cut section of ProComp, which can be used as reinforcing for heavier or more active users. In the Q&A, I'm happy to expand a little bit more on the technical processes of building a thermoplastic PDE device. So while the 250mm springs are available and will help to address the need for this technology, we understand that there are many smaller clients who don't have the build height available to use a full 250mm length spring at the moment. I'm pleased to say that the 175mm springs are also in their 3rd stage of beta development. We've been involved in the testing here in Melbourne, and that device should be available in the coming 12 months. The springs are also going to incorporate a bespoke anchor, which will be contoured to the Achilles and the back of the calf to maintain the lowest profile possible on smaller legs. I wanted to just share a case example of one of our earliest thermoplastic PDE users who's been using a thermoplastic PDE for 2.5 years. This is a girl with cerebral palsy, spastic hemiplegia. You can see initial contact without a device is with the forefoot. There's a bit of a hyperextension flick. In running, which is one of her goals to be able to compete, she had a significant difference in flight phase between the left and right sides, and you can see coronal plane deformity as well. When providing a device with this sort of technology, really our main aims are to facilitate the normal ankle range of motion. We know that it's important for, during loading response, the ankle to be able to plantar flex so that we don't get an excessive knee flexion moment during loading response, which would put undue demand on the quadricep muscles. The amount of plantar flexion which occurs in a PDE spring is only subtle, in the order of 3 to 5 degrees, and yet what we've seen and also had fed back to us from clients is that can make a huge difference when it enables them to actually keep the knee a little more extended during loading response. Another benefit of using this sort of technology in comparison with an articulated device, particularly for those people that have the range available but not enough plantar flexion strength to assist with the plantar flexor knee extensor couple, is that the PDE spring here can help to supplement the activity of the plantar flexors and maintain the knee in full extension whilst we still control the coronal and transverse plane of the foot and ankle complex in the device that we've fabricated and fitted. Another benefit of this technology is harnessing the capability for energy storage and return. And we can see here the improved flight phase. As I mentioned earlier, one of this girl's goals was to run and be able to compete in competition. So we're really pleased to be able to facilitate that at a more competitive level, as she was able to compete against more of her able-bodied peers. Regarding ordering and for more information, you're welcome to contact us at inquiries@neuromuscularorthotics.com.au. During Congress, we encourage you to visit our booth in the exhibition hall, and there is also a link there to our 3D booth in the virtual environment. In that booth, there is a brochure on the thermoplastic PDE available for you to download. And of course, I invite you to join us in the Q&A session at 1:35 on the Zoom link. Thanks for joining me for this presentation, and I look forward to talking to you in the Q&A shortly.